Let's start our coverage with KGW's Maggie Vespa. She's live for us in Colton, Oregon, which is in that level 3 territory. Maggie, you were in a press conference earlier with firefighters and authorities in the county. Lots of updates coming out of that.
Yeah, Brittany, 100%. We streamed that entire press conference on our Facebook page, on Twitter, on our website. It's about a half hour long, and it's packed with information if people want to go watch it for themselves. I'll run through a couple of the big updates here. The first one that we want to highlight was containment levels. A lot of people on social media were really glad to hear about this. So I'll show you the list, some of the smaller fires here in the area. In particular, the Wilhoit fire and the Unger fire are both 100% contained. The Dowdy fire and Graves Road, which is a small one, it's just 45 acres. Those are both 20% contained. Again, that's new as of today. People commenting, like I said, a lot about that, relieved to hear those updates. Of course, the big concern here is still the Riverside fire. It's at more than 133,000 acres, all in Clackamas County, and it's 0% contained. That said, firefighters are making progress. They moved from defensive mode to offensive overnight Friday into Saturday, and gaining control like that allowed them to downgrade some of those lower level evacuation zones. That said, level 3 unchanged. Level 3, of course, means leave now. And I asked today why those boundaries haven't moved. Firefighters said that boils down not so much to fire danger, but to infrastructure damage.
So we have to make sure the roadways are cleared. There are weakened trees. There's electrical wires down. There might be damaged structures out there and things that can be hazardous to the general public. You know, we're trained. We have professionals out there on the ground. I just got out of a meeting with some of the PGE folks talking about their infrastructure and stuff like that. And it would just be counterintuitive to send people back into their homes when there could be live electrical lines and things like that.
So firefighters are working on putting that risk in perspective, too. In fact, we were told today Clackamas Fire just began damage assessment in burned areas. And if you've been through areas impacted, you know that these fires can be really fickle, really hit or miss. We found this burned patch of land moments ago along Highway 213. But get this, that land is technically in the level 2 zone. In fact, Highway 213 is the dividing line in some parts between level 3 and level 2. A neighbor told us firefighters put that fire out quickly so it didn't spread, and he was obviously really grateful for that. Something else that was talked about today is the sort of suspicion and panic surrounding possible looters. The sheriff here in Clackamas County said over the last 2 days, deputies have responded to more than 330 calls. That's more than 4 times their norm. And they said the vast majority of those were around people who were afraid they were seeing looters on their property or on their neighbor's property. The sheriff said the vast majority of those calls turned out to be unfounded. No one was trying to loot anything. And he told a story about someone who was driving around with gas in the back of their truck, and deputies got a call about them. They finally caught up to the guy, and it turned out he was delivering gas to people he knew who needed that to run their generators. So, Brittany, the sheriff basically told us that he understands, as we all do, we all know this, that people are scared, there's a lot of panic out there, but he really implored people not to get sucked in by that and to kind of get caught up in conspiracy theories online. And he also reminded people deputies are patrolling these areas heavily to make sure they remain safe while people are evacuated. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Maggie, thank you so much. Great update.